What's up guys, this is Sean Tan. Welcome to the iherng podcast. And this episode is brought to you by Dreamy, which is the vacuum cleaner that I'm using right now. It's a robot type and it saves me a lot of time, so I can actually make more videos of such. Go check it out, use the link down below if you're interested. Anyway, back to the email today. Hello Sean, good day. My name is Calvin. I came across your YouTube channel a few months ago when I started to research property in Klang Valley because I am planning to purchase my first. Ever since then, I started to watch your YouTube videos every day, lunchtime and after dinner. Sometimes 4 or even 5 videos a day. And soon, there are very few stocks videos left in the playlist. So I have a very small wish that you and your team could produce more videos every week. Haha. Anyway, after a few months learning from all the videos and actually practicing to visit multiple different projects, check the actual sites, list down pros and cons, and get myself prepared for all the documents for a loan application on the monthly basis, I finally decided and signed the SPA agreement 2 weeks ago. Woohoo! I must say that when the purchasers are well prepared, the entire journey is very smooth. You know what to ask the agent during the visit, what to take note around the site, and what documents the bank might ask for. I got my first loan offer in just 3 days. Okay, sorry for the long sharing. I'm still a bit overexcited at the moment. The question that I have is, if I plan to purchase another property, which is the second one this year, will the bank think that I am over aggressive? Is there an unwritten policies from the bank or the government related to this? Will Lembaga Hasil invite me for coffee? Hahaha. What preparation do I need to make or increase my chances except making more income? Or I just have to wait for a while and chill a bit? Thank you very much for making all this content and reading my email. Have a nice day. Well, first of all, congratulations, Calvin, on the new purchase, and you just mark the highlight of my work. Like the entire philosophy, the entire goal of this channel altogether is to somewhat be that side note or be that voice to support people throughout the entire investment journey in Malaysia. And now planning to expand over to UK lah. And you are absolutely right when you say when the purchasers are ready, right? Everything is so fast. Unfortunately, that's not the case for most of the people. Whenever they want to buy a house, it's like an accidental thing. They walk into a sales gallery or they bump into a road show when they go for grocery shopping. Then suddenly, wow, this project not bad. Or try loan book first, then suddenly they buy a house. It's funny to think about that in that manner, but it's actually true. A lot of people accidentally buy a house. And since the house is going to be 4 years anyway, then the mindset of like, 4 years later only, don't have to worry too much, just let it be. Until 4 years really come, they collect the keys, then they start complaining left, right, center, blaming the developer, blaming the government, blaming the agent, blame everyone else but themselves. Yeah, so the channel also encourages accountability. You make informed decisions. If you make money, congrats to your research. If you don't, your fault. Learn from it and move on. So the main question is, after you buy one, when are you ready to buy the second one? So that depends on the mode of buying. Here means that when we discussed in the channel before, so it's always like investment or own stay. It's also a very cool technical discussion. So what's the main difference between both? Like personally, like this dwelling that I'm actually staying right now, I'm actually renting this. And to the society of today, renting still carries that negative stigma to it. As if like Sean do not have enough money to buy a house, to don't even buy a home. Like see, so kesian the baby needs to grow up in the rental home. Yes, there are still stigmas like that, especially when we talk to older folks, like our parents, our auntie, uncles, right? Oh, you're so kesian, Sean. You're not making enough money, mate. So you need some money or not? How I wish they would give me, right? But the real reason is between own stay and investment, right? When's the right time to buy the next one, right? Depends on the intention for your first one. If you are fortunate enough, like me, where my families are all within KL, so if I don't have a house today, I can anytime move into one, especially especially during the days where you just barely start working and your parents didn't want to chase you out, right? So you just live rent-free, pay some utility bills, pay them some money, it's fine. It's still cheaper than renting a house. That allows you to use the limited slots of resources that we have at that junction of time to make money roll for us first by acquiring investment assets. If you're in that position where you don't really need a home yet, you don't really need to own a place to stay yet, go for an investment property first, because that is up the purchase of the next property. Especially for new property investors, right? Many do not know that we can declare rent that we collect as income, and the banks actually recognize it with the criteria of having tenancy agreements, and you have bank-in slips more than 6 months, some collects more than 12 months, then you recognize it as an income. Of course, some banks calculate it 100%, some banks calculate it at 80%. For example, if you're going to apply for another loan, right, the monthly installment, let's say 2,000 that you need to pay the property every month, is included into your DSR calculation, which is your debt service ratio calculation. So technically, you cannot buy the second one already. But if you can prove that this property is actually rented out at 2002, for example, then 2002, with all the transaction, with all the bank-in statements, with the tenancy agreements, just for example, here the bank recognize 100% of it. Technically, you are not 2,000 ringgit poorer, but you are 200 ringgit richer every month, because this is actually income. That's why we argue that then you are paying more tax to the government for extra income. Since you are making money out of the governance that we have, I think it's fair. Plus, we can also exempt out the installment interest. The 2,000 ringgit monthly installment, within that portion, especially for the first 5 years, it's very heavy interest. Means that the 2,000, 90% or 85% usually is all interest component, which is up to like 1,008. You pay 200 to the principal only. That's why after 5 years, if you look into your bank statement again, right, you still owe the bank a lot of money, because you barely just clear the interest. Good thing is, you can declare that as cost to your investment. So your actual real profit is only 400 a month, which is like 4,008 a year. So it's not really a lot in terms of tax to the government. And with that supporting documents and income, you can then apply another bank loan and they are happy to give you. So think of it as a business. Banks also want to give people money. Just that it's about risk tolerance of different banks, whether they want to put their money on you. So since you can justify your income, you'll actually get richer by acquiring more properties, right? Oh, please take my money. You know what you're doing. As long as you can pay my money on time every month, take it. So in that manner, it would not be a problem. But on the contrary, if you are buying the first property as an own stay unit, so there's no way that this 2,000 ringgit have a rental for collection. So it's going to eat up into your DSR, leading you to not being able to buy another property, aka qualifying for another loan, because you just don't have enough income to support it. So for a lot of property investors, initially all of them just rent houses. They rent where they stay, but they buy where they invest. The mindset to that is, I want to free up as much DSR as possible so I can qualify for more loan to really max out this. I think for normal conservative approach, not to be too out there in terms of investment appetite, right? I think every Malaysian should really own like 2 to 3 in their lifetime. The first one, get 90% loan. Second one, 90% loan. Then by 40 or 50, you really accumulated wealth. Then you get a home when you're 40 to 45, and that's just about it lah. So that can be our nest egg, that can be our education fund for our kids, just in case they are geniuses. If not, you just go buy watches or go travel the world, really relax right after when we are 65 or 70. And that's the game plan for real estate. It's not to really own like 25 units like me. It's a very big risk hat to wear on. Yeah, so that's really hard. And after coming back from Singapore, after mixing around with people in UK, for the rest of the world, down payment of 20%, it's very normal. Only in Malaysia we enjoy this benefit of zero money down, as long as you can qualify for the loan, right? Buying a new project, not much problem one. Even buying a subsale, right? 10% down. Then for the miscellaneous fee, we agak-agak is like 18%. It's still less than what is required in other countries. Does it mean we should buy more? Not really, but it's in accordance to our own ambition and risk appetite. In the eye of the bank and in the eye of the government, you just need to merely provide proof for your income. The worst thing that the world is afraid of will be money laundering, the source of your money. If it's inheritance also, you need to prove it. Or this is from an uncle, this is from a grandfather, then you get that money, only you want to invest. It's all about that. It's not about whether they want to restrict your investment appetite, your investment income or whatsoever. In other words, that also explains why I'm very bullish in encouraging young folks to buy an investment property first. If you are like buying your first at 24 or 25, right, you don't really need a home just yet. And if you really need it, right, rent one first. What's wrong with renting? While letting your money build your wealth in the meantime. So when you really get married, when the kid really is coming out already, right, then by 30 or 32, you can rent a bigger house, or if your career is really in place, then you just own one while letting the money roll for you. Because if you play the other way, so let's just play in scenario, right? First house I buy for investment, and we start at 25, right? So at 25, you buy an apartment which is like 3 to 400,000, and the monthly installment can be covered by rent. And just let it play out, right? So 25, you buy one. 26, 27, 28. So this is when you get your keys, and you need to prepare for renovation, then you rent out the unit, right? Then for 29, 30, you rent out for 2 years already, and you start making money already. You have income already, right? So for that 2 years is income. Then meanwhile, because you invest in a new property, right, there's nothing much to do but service the interest only. So what can you do in the meantime? Focus on your main income. Make sure that you are able to climb the corporate ladder. Focus on the career and making things work. Then on year 5, you're in a different position financially, you're in a different position family planning wise, then maybe you only can get your second home, but you have accumulated somewhat a certain degree of wealth provided the right property within that 5 years time. And at this time, are you richer? You are richer in main income wise, you are richer in secondary income wise, which is the rental income. Then you can buy the second one. So within this discussion as well, the variable then will be subsale and new property. The benefit of buying a subsale property is that you have absolute certainty on everything, including the build quality, the orientation, the rental income, the capital appreciation, the tenants around, the people staying within the condo, common areas, traffic condition, everything you will know inside out about a project before you pull the trigger in investing in one. And once you sign the papers, it takes around 6 months, usually 4 to 6 months, depending whether is it a leasehold or a freehold. And alright, after that 6 months, you can start renting out already. And after 6 months, you can declare that rent as income. Then you can go for the second one almost immediately. But if you are buying a new property, unfortunately, a lot of high-rise that is a bit higher in density takes 4 to 5 years to build. So within that 4 to 5 years time, there are a lot of opportunity costs. Of course, there's a different mode of investment when you have money compared to when you don't have money. When I don't have money, that's the way I can play around lah, which is to invest in a new property because I don't have capital. At least I own something in the meantime, right? So I'll just prepare for my second one within the construction period. But if I got money, right, I always encourage people to go for subsales because of its certainty, because of its speed to move on to the next one. So to answer your question, when is it okay to go for the second one? It depends on your income level, of course, as you mentioned. But then it depends whether is it a new property or is it a subsale property. And part of the discussion of the income as well, that depends on the second mode, where is your first property rented out or is your first property being an own stay unit. So with that in mind, right, the fastest way, I guess, for anybody young who is listening to this, right, let's say you started working for already 3 to 5 years already, you have the sufficient emergency fund, which is around 6 to 8 months time, you have enough insurance to protect yourself, medical card sorted out, and you're in a very comfortable state in your career, then you want to venture into property investment, I would suggest to get a subsale first. So you get a subsale within like a 4 to 500,000 apartment where the rental can cover installment. A lot of people say very hard to find, right? My assumption is they didn't even find. Actually, there's a lot in the market. Okay, so after you get that, pay the down payment. So it's like 10% for down payment, 8% for miscellaneous like MOT lah, lawyer fee lah, legal fee, all this kind of thing. And you get that sorted out already, which you will need around a cash of 60 over thousand. Then you will need some money of furnishing the property. So a safe ballpark figure of like 80,000. 50 to 80,000, you are good to go. And right after you get the first property, furnish it, rent it out, you can use the SPA, take that and go into the EPF office and you can ask for withdrawal 10% of the property price or whatever inside account too. So that can be your capital for the next purchase already. So if you still have more money, fine, let's go for the second one. Right, that is also subsale, and that's how I would suggest everyone to play. If you don't want to go so fast, you want to kind of enjoy life a little bit, go travel a little bit, put the money back into EPF. Okay, if you really need it to roll and save your credit card debts or whatsoever, then it's fine. Please don't misuse this method to take out money from the EPF and go and travel the world. Don't waste the money. It's meant for old age in the first place, for retirement. Meanwhile, go hunt around the market, book a new property instead. So almost instantly, within a year or two, you will have 2 properties and 2 90% slot all used up already. Then save up renovation fee for the second property to get it rented out while preparing for the third one. Because a lot of people don't think about this. It's not like forever we will have 2 90% slots. A lot of people just think that this is cast in stone or whatsoever. This is just a policy introduced by the government. Last time, back then, there's this thing called DIBS, Developer Interest Bearing Scheme, where buyers, after they book any project, they don't have to pay anything until they get the keys. No more such thing. Then there's no limitation on 90% loan. So you can book as many as possible. As long as you can qualify for the loan, you can get 90% for no matter how many properties you own. Wow. Then there's no RBGT. RBGT, last time there was a moment of time, it's 0. So they just encourage people to go into property investment. These are what we call cooling measures that the government controls. When they think that the property market is too hyped up, these are the things that are like buttons for them to switch on. Okay, I switch on this. Imagine now everyone no more 90% loan. Everybody will have 1 slot. That's it. Imagine what's going to happen. I just don't want property to be an investment tool or investment vehicle anymore. You guys are nothing but havoc to the country, havoc to the rugyard. That is what Singapore is. Right? So you think about it, so much cooling measures in place. Yes, everybody needs to pay 20% at least upfront, then you can use EPF to support, somewhat like what we have already. And with all these cooling measures, right, foreigners cannot come in and buy unless you pay 60% extra stamp duty. So it's almost like 80% upfront cash for a foreigner to buy a local property in Singapore. With that restriction, right, the entire property market is still out of control. Rental almost double or whatsoever, and their average rent is almost like 2 to 3% only in terms of ROI. Just when we thought that their property is so well done, right? Our ROI generally in KL is way higher than theirs. But let's just put the forex exchange aside lah, right? Don't talk about currency lah. Everything convert over what also nothing lah. No matter how much also nothing lah, right? But how I look at property investment is only going to be restrictive to property investors. And that's pretty common to all countries, especially when you have a precedent like China. Everybody gets rich via property investment, right? And the bubble just bursts and everybody just collapsed. So that's the worst thing that a country would need to go through, and the government will do everything to stop it. So to me, the mindset is, since housing policies will change, but across time, rarely it will change to loosen up, to encourage more people to invest property, because it's a money-making tool. Everybody wants to make money, so there's no need to tell people, hey, learn how to invest, right? So the only thing that they need to worry of is by stopping it. When that happens, we can no longer play this game, which leaves us all early property investors, we're all like dinosaurs already, right? It's absolutely extinct. It's only going to be harder to play this game. So while we can enjoy and maximize whatever we can, right? And with that, thank you very much, Calvin, for sending in the email. Congratulations again, and I hope everyone would use the same approach, right, to get really informed about everything: processes, research, market condition, tenants, skill sets, documents, whatever hambalang we have spoke around the channel. And let's get into the game quick. Put time on our side as soon as possible and let inflation be a good thing. Cool. See you guys on the next one. Ciao.